Nation, we're back.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Fire the Cannon. I'm Rocky.
And I'm Megan, and we are Fire the Cannon.
Boom. Welcome back, Megan. It is game week, Megan. Can you believe it? We survived.
It is.
7.5, 8 months. How long? 4 years, 12 years. How long was it that we waited?
It's been, what is it? It's been 84 years. It's their fearless.
We made it back. It is Texas-Ohio State weekend. Of course, we did have college football last weekend, week 0, but this is Texas football weekend. And of course, number 1 team in the country is going to Ohio State. How you feeling, Megan?
I feel good. I feel like this is the time of the week, right? Where you get like, I'm both amped and like nervous energy and like happy, but also like, God, I just wish it was Saturday. Like, I have hit the part of the week that I am completely distracted. I'm absolutely not getting things done that I need to get done because I'm just ready for it to be Saturday. So how about you? Are you vibing with this weekend? You nervous about it? You feeling good?
Well, you know, we were out of town last week, so I was catching up from that, and then thinking ahead. And of course, you have to do all the things like start laying out what your outfits are, trying on all the things, checking ahead at the weather, Columbus weather. It's going to be beautiful football weather, and then of course you got to check the bag policy. And I posted something on Twitter. So for those who don't know, apparently people don't act right at this stadium. That you can't have any bags, 0 bags. You can only have a wristlet or a wallet. Wristlet being 5 by 8 by less than 1 inch. So I don't even know if they're going to let like the usual little, the little bags on your hip. No, I don't even know if it's any of that. So say less. I went and like bedazzled. I don't know if you can see. I went and bedazzled this little wristlet that is 5 by 8 and just fits my phone. Maybe a credit card. That's it.
I like it.
So that's where I'm at. That's the big thing right now. Crafting, like pulling out my jerseys and figuring out, what I'm going to wear for Friday, travel Friday. We have the happy hour thing. And then are we going to dinner Friday night? We're not going to jail, Megan. We are not going to jail.
I mean, first of all, you're not the boss of me. You don't know my life. Okay.
Okay. You can go to jail. I am not bringing a jail outfit.
Look, I know. I genuinely wonder if like guys go through this struggle. Like, is it just? I really want to know. Do y'all have like your good luck jersey that you wear, or like a consistent outfit that you wear, or do you not care? Like, I spend far too much effort worrying about what I'm gonna wear on game day, and inevitably, like, I will waste hours of my life trying to make this decision, and then I always end up in the same shit. Always, every time. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I'm making this more complicated than it needs to, but I guess that's
Richard
me.
Said no, they don't go through. Actually, and I like to help Richard pick out nice, cool game day outfits too. So, Evan LaPoste says, I sure do have a lucky outfit.
You got a lucky
nice,
fit.
Lucky
All
fit.
right.
Make sure you're wearing it. And we are Evan LaPoste's favorite podcast. Thank you. You're our favorite too, Evan. And of course, CB, bring the boom, ladies. All right. Oh, that's because it's Quinn Ewers days until Texas football, and he brings the boom to you. So Megan, tonight, let's let everybody know, very special guest. You want to let them know who our special guest is? Our OG friend, one.
Our OG, our boy is Rod Baber is going to be joining us a little bit later on tonight. So we always love having him on the show. Always got great insights. He's a lot of fun. We get worked up together. So yeah, man, looking forward to having him on. We're going to talk, of course, Ohio State and Texas going up to the shoe. We've got some predictions for you. We got some things we're excited about, some things you got to look out for, some keys to the game, and a little bit of fun too. It wouldn't be a Fire the Cannon podcast if we didn't talk just a little bit of trash about the opponent, right? So we got to get that in there for sure. Rocky, what else we got coming up?
Yeah, it's college football week 1. So we picked out some of the top games we're going to chat about, look at some of the most notable new starting quarterbacks, kind of look at where the college football, we saw the AP preseason a couple weeks ago, but let's kind of talk about a few of those top 25 games that we are most excited about. And Megan, college football is 5 days this weekend. We know this is the week where the NFL is, finalizing their 53-man rosters. A lot of Longhorns hanging on to their jobs again this week. But that means this is the one weekend where college football gets Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. And there are good games.
Wild. Yeah.
Every day, top 10 matchups, 3 different top 10 matchups, and then a lot of really intriguing, new quarterback or new coach or, coaches fighting for their lives or some little rivalries. So that's going to be it's going to be a fun weekend of college football week 1. But we're also going to talk. We have time tonight. We made time tonight to do a little Aggie Sooners talk and kind of check in with their programs. You love the Aggies, Megan, and you love Mike Elko, and
near and dear to my heart.
We have Mike Elko, who you really believe is a great fit and going to do good things.
I do. I will say that.
Vegetables at OU.
Burt Vegetables is my guy, man. Extend that man. Extend that man.
So yeah, they both so we'll talk about the Aggies and the Sooners later too. If you have your predictions for those records, we'll kind of look at their schedules, maybe some little press conference notes, and check in with our little brother and our enemy across the river. Okay, but let's get started, Megan. I wanted to show you right now, just kind of peek in again and remind ourselves of the top 25, AP top 25. Here we go. Texas sitting at number 1. Ohio State, number 3. We've talked about this, and we'll look at those games in a second. But before we preview this season, I wanted to ask you, Megan, they put out a list, and I'll show you this list, a list of the contenders, maybe really the teams that are looking to go into this season with the best chance of winning a national championship. Up at the top, of course, the top 3 teams in the nation. Next, Georgia, Clemson, Alabama. I would even put Clemson as a front runner and Georgia in the front runner. Next here, LSU, Notre Dame, Miami. What are you thinking about Oregon? When you look at this list, they have Aggies and Sooners as contenders. Looking at this list, is there anybody too high, too low?
For me, Miami's got a lot of questions. You're replacing Cam Ward. What are you going to do? I mean, he was, so explosive for Miami. How do you replace a talent like that? What weapons do they still have with Miami? So that one, tier 3, yeah, I could probably get behind. I think they're ranked, number 10 right now? Is that right? So a little high.
They're listed as could go on a playoff run. If you're listening and not watching, they're listening. They're a tier 3, could go on a playoff run. LSU, Notre Dame, Miami, Oregon.
Yeah. So I don't know. Miami, I'm not convinced about yet. I think they're one that has a lot of potential, but I just don't know that I've bought into that post Cam Ward era quite yet. Alabama, that's another one that I feel like sitting at that tier 2. I feel like there might be some legacy credit here, right? I think Alabama definitely has talent. They're still, DeBoer's doing okay there, but this isn't a Nick Saban team where that they're going to be back every single time in contention. I'm still not convinced that Alabama is going to hold up that kind of legacy that they had. So, but I agree with you. Definitely Georgia, Clemson, those are both 2 teams that arguably belong in that top tier as well. I think Texas getting that number 1 slot, that number 1 ranking. I like it as a Texas fan. Also, I feel like we've got a lot to prove. So, I can appreciate how Georgia looks at this and goes, well, we beat Texas a couple times last year. So I can appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia belongs a little higher. Is there anybody on here that you think's too high, maybe too low?
Right. I'm going to say Clemson, I would put in the front runners because they have a pretty favorable schedule. If they get past LSU and they get them at home with Cade Klubnik, who is arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now, I would put Clemson in a front runner position. Some people even have them as the number 1 team in the country. Alabama, I've seen some people pick them to win the SEC, but I like them right in that where they are. Can win a title. Again, DeBoer still has to prove it, and they have one of the best defenses in the country, but again, they're reloading on offense. I would say when you look at the tier 4, which is playoff contenders, they have SMU, Louisville, Tech, Tulane, the Green Wave, right? Is that the little Green Wave?
Yeah, it is.
I've
Yeah.
seen them with getting some big love this year, so I'm going to be watching them early. Iowa State, Liberty, always explosive offense. You know, the Aggies are there, Florida's there, Ole Miss, Boise State, OU. I can see when we'll talk about this later, the Aggies being a playoff contender. Absolutely. This might be their year that they win enough in the SEC to get into the playoffs. But there's not enough room for all these teams. So if I had to pick between all these that they have contenders, Aggies, Florida, Ole Miss, OU, South Carolina, just from the SEC, I would probably of that group lean more towards Aggie, Florida, Carolina, South Carolina, and maybe not so much Ole Miss and OU. But we'll talk about that when we look at the calendar. What do you think? What do you think at the top bottom? Look at the top 25. Potential to make the top 25. Kansas.
Like we talked about on our Monday recording show, like I think Kansas, I mean, the Big 12 right now is wide open, right? And we talked about it, like it's just going to be fun football in the Big 12. It might not be technically perfect football every time, but damn it, you're going to have a good time watching it. I love seeing Kansas there. You know, like we talked about, we were up there last weekend, saw a lot of good things. They've got, you know, Daniels as their leadership at that QB position. Of course, Justice Finkley contributing there, stepping up in a leadership role. So yeah, I mean, I definitely can see Kansas playing a role if things fall right. Again, their coach really seems to have them rolling, and he's got it figured out. So yeah, I think Kansas certainly can be a contender. I don't know how I feel about Colorado up there. A lot of questions about North Carolina with Belichick coming in. That to me is going to be one of the weirder things to see this college football season. Belichick as a Tar Heel. I don't know. We could talk about that. I'd love people's opinions
as a college coach. You know, I call him Billy Cheat. He can sue me. He's a cheater. There are, of course, there's a lot more that they can do now than maybe, you know, even 5-10 years ago with college athletes. But Billy Cheat is going to be on, you know, have actual people holding him accountable this time. So we'll see what happens there. It's still going to be intriguing to see what he does, you know. Yeah, it'll still be fun. Everything down there, lots of Big 12 teams and that playoff contender potential, top 25 potential area. So like we've said last week, this Big 12 is going to be fun to watch this year. They may only have one or two legit, you know, playoff run opportunity teams like they had, you know, Arizona State last year. But that's still going to be fun to watch them just beat each other up.
They're scrappy, man. The Big 12 is scrappy. I'll give them that for sure.
All right. So let's dive into a couple of quarterbacks in particular. So we looked at kind of looked at the top 25 and kind of looked at who's the contenders. A lot of those teams, though, that are contenders or, you know, have a shot at making the playoffs have brand new quarterbacks. So it's kind of hard to, you know, predict when they either have a transfer who's new to the system or new to the, you know, the team, or they have brand new starters. So, you know, looking at, of course, Arch Manning, Texas. We just talked about Alabama. They're bringing in Ty Simpson to replace Jalen Milroe. Gunnar Stockton, we saw him come in the game against Texas and shock Texas for a minute, right? And, of course, the one Texas plays this weekend, Julian Sayin, John Mateer at OU, Bryce Underwood, the superstar, 5-star that, you know, came to Michigan. Anything here? We'll come to Arch Manning in a bit, but who else here is intriguing to you as a first-year quarterback?
You know, we'll talk about Sayin here in a little bit, so I don't want to talk too much here. That's definitely a big storyline, certainly in this first week. But Mateer, I think, is going to be one that all eyes is on him. I think he's going to have a lot of pressure early. I think OU is going to be feeling a lot of pressure. Look, whether the AD wants to admit it or not, whether Venables wants to admit it or not, he's starting to get into enough tenure at OU, Venables is, that that seat's getting a little bit warm. I think Sooner Nation has a lot of patience, but I'm not sure how long that welcome mat stays out. So I think, you know, watching Mateer here, he's got a lot of pressure on him to perform early and to bring OU back, right? Obviously not the season they were expecting last year, that first year in the SEC. And coming back this year, there's expectations of potentially a 10-win season. So to me, that's a lot to put on this young quarterback. It's a lot to ask of him. high expectations at a place like OU that is known for cranking out some quarterbacks. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting storyline, something to focus on, something to keep an eye on throughout the season. Can he handle the pressure? And is Venables capable of developing an offensive player? That to me is a great question.
Well, we'll talk about OU when we talk Aggies and Sooners in a bit. But yes, they brought his coordinator with him, the system with him. That should help a lot. But again, that question for a lot of these quarterbacks comes down to what offensive line is protecting them, giving them time, who's their coach, what's the system. Arch Manning, there he is. He's been in the same system now. This is his third year, same coordinator, same, QB coach, same head coach, same offensive line coach that he's working behind. So there's been some change at running back coach while he's been here, but he's come up and developed with the same recruiting class too. So that helps a lot. Bryce Underwood, highly, highly rated. Lots of excitement when he flipped to Michigan at the end. Got a big bag. Good for him. Do whatever you need. Make your money, man. But again, true freshman. We saw them fall last year after they're winning that national championship. Again, their coach, a lot is on the line. They're in the midst of all that punishments, quote unquote punishments for their cheating scandals. And, now he's going to be the young hot face, and that's going to be fun. Gunnar Stockton with Georgia. We'll see. And of course we know, Carson Beck went to Miami, and we will talk about that game in a second. Anything else here with these young quarterbacks before we move on? We haven't even mentioned CJ Carr with Notre Dame.
Yeah, right. I know
He's got a big role.
So many to talk about. I mean, that's the thing that's crazy to me. It's so many schools that you're seeing predicted to do very well. Preseason rankings, you can groan about them all you want, but they do exist. So we do talk about them. But I mean, you've got a lot of schools here that are ranked very high, certainly in the top 10, definitely in the top 20, that all have brand new quarterbacks, right? Now, Texas, we'll dive into this. Texas, in my opinion, it is in a better position given, exactly like you said, Arch Manning being in year 3 under this system. He's had some time, and he got meaningful snaps last year. So yes. I think, for Texas, that's definitely a bonus. We'll dive into that a little bit more later with Rod. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks here, right? A lot of big names, a lot of star power here as far as where their rankings were and expectations coming into the season. But as we have seen in the past, it's all about that development and how they handle and how they develop. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. We'll get a couple messages here. Stevie, hi besties. Hey Stevie. She said the vest koozie. What's the vest koozie?
It is a vest koozie.
Oh my goodness. For
my drink. Listen, I'm a classy woman, and you gotta snuggle up the drink, right? If I'm gonna be drinking. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That is a fancy dressed.
Yeah. It's the best dressed beer that you've seen.
It looks really cozy too. I want that goat for me. All right, yes, CB Rod B is the one that came up with the CB nickname in 2008. Oh my goodness, that was 17 years ago. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. Yes, again, Rod Babers, lifetime Longhorn radio legend, social media legend, expert in the game of football. He is coming on to join us in just a few minutes, and we will start really breaking down the preview of Ohio State, Texas at Ohio State with Rod. We have lots of great questions. If you have questions you want to ask Rod, put them in the comments on the YouTube stream. You can add comments there. So let's go ahead and look, Megan, start looking at the games. I know a team that you really, you love the fan base. You think they're a great crowd. Nebraska, Thursday night, there's lots of games. But Nebraska is, I think, the highlight because some people have them with a pretty favorable schedule and maybe poking their head out to compete for, Big Ten based on that favorable schedule. They're at Cincinnati. What are your thoughts on this game looking ahead to Nebraska? And tell us about the fan base because you really like them.
I do. I love me some Cornhuskers. Look, I think, I mean, first of all, let's talk about this classic matchup between, the Big Ten and the Big 12, right? With all this
And the
conference
new Big
realignment.
12,
Right.
Cincinnati, like, they haven't even been there
That's what's
long.
wild about it is this is Nebraska's the Big 10 team and, Cincinnati is the Big 12 team. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, look, I've always had a great time in Lincoln. Their fans have always been really wonderful. So I got a special little place in my heart for Nebraska. I
Good.
think it probably doesn't hurt that Texas didn't really struggle with them when we played them. So yeah, look, I think this is going to be really interesting. For me, this is a game to pay attention. I love that it's on Thursday. I love that it's the only one that's going on, so you can really focus in. A lot of questions about Nebraska, right?
Oh, there's 17 games on Thursday.
Oh, is there? All
Yeah,
on Thursday?
yeah.
Dang.
No, I was just
All
thought
right.
that's just the one we wanted to highlight.
That's
But we'll,
crazy. I didn't realize there were
yeah,
that
no,
many. All right. Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
so yeah, looking at this one that in prime time, at least on Thursday. So
Right.
for me, I think college football is better when Nebraska is good, right? I like Matt Rule as a coach. I hate that he coached at Baylor, but I like Matt Rule as a coach. And I think this is, this again, I talked a little bit earlier about with Brett Venables. That seat's getting a little warm for Venables, but this is about the time that we see Matt Rule start to cook, right? He's had a little bit of time. He's got a little bit of time to recruit. I think we're going to see some good stuff from Nebraska this year. And again, Rocky, like you said, it's a really favorable schedule for them. So if there is a year for them to make that big jump and kind of get back to national prominence, this is a nice stepping stone for them to do it. And this will be a nice first test at Cincinnati to check that out. So I will definitely be glued to that TV watching that game. What are your thoughts on it?
All right. You mentioned they have a favorable schedule. They have Akron and Houston Christian. That's, fine. Michigan goes to Nebraska the fourth game of the season. Not on September 20th. They get Michigan State at home. They go to Maryland and Minnesota, but they get pretty favorable games at home. Their biggest challenge, I think, will be at Penn State, that in the freezing cold, whenever that game happens. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy schedule. But I think overall, they could finish in the top of their side of the Big Ten, which would give them maybe they have a shot to compete for something this year. Megan, that'll be fun. Oh, I lost you, Megan. All right, you'll come back. All right, so but yes, like we were saying, Thursday night there are 17 games, college football games. One top 25 game that I see, and that is Boise State at South Florida. But the games on Thursday start in Austin time, 4:30 p.m. Boise State, South Florida, all the way. There you are, girl. We're just saying Saturday there's 17 games from 4:30 to midnight is college football. The only top 25 game being Boise State at South Florida. But there are some good teams that play: Houston, Duke, Missouri, some teams you might want to check out. All right, Friday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 games, Megan, including, let's start with your Michigan State Sparties. They host the big bad Broncos of Western Michigan.
They do indeed. Look, that's one that Michigan State is favored by quite a bit. State having a rough few years.
20. Yep.
Yeah. State having a rough few years, but hopefully this is a path back to being good again. Listen, it is rare for me when both of my teams are good at the same time. So I had to sacrifice one. It's definitely going to be Sparty. Sorry about that, Mom and Dad. But yeah, it's I think this will be a pretty easy game. Again, it's at Spartan Stadium, and like you mentioned, Michigan State favored by 20, and that one shouldn't be too tough. That's for sure. I did want to say something before I dropped off. Sorry about that, y'all.
That's okay.
Internet's always fun out here. So CJ, we had a couple people comment on
Dylan Raiola.
Yeah. Here we go. Baby Mahomes gonna look Mahomish. Look, man, I am not ready to commit to that quite yet. I don't.
He very much looks like Mahomes off the field.
Physically, sure.
We'll see what he does on the field. He wears the same big ski sunglasses, same fade curly haircut. Like he definitely looks like him off the field for sure. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
I'm down for people like emulating the people that they love. But the funny thing to me about him is that he's like, man, I can't help it if people make comparisons. I only, He can't help it, y'all, but he only has the same
Well,
haircut, the
dressing
same,
exactly like
it dresses the same accessories. Like,
same haircut, same sunglasses. Yeah, he's got the look down for sure. I think it's kind of cute. It's whatever. Anyway, yeah, we can't move on from Nebraska without talking about QB Dylan Raiola coming back from a huge season. Left on a good note. So let's see where Michigan goes. Nebraska. I'll be rooting for Nebraska. All right. We said Western Michigan at Michigan State. I think the biggest game of Friday night is, and we will be in Columbus watching this game somewhere 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Columbus time, is Auburn at Baylor. Auburn's actually favored by 2.5. Thoughts? I know you have thoughts on Baylor. We have thoughts on Baylor as a program, but let's take where they are today. And do you have thoughts on this game?
I know a lot of people are high on Baylor right now. I know a lot of people think there's going to be a great improvement there. I'm still going to stick with this and say I'm not convinced that Baylor can get their shit together. Dave Aranda, to me, is a little whack job, right? But like, I'm not sure if it's the like genius crazy or if it's just the crazy. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the crazy with him. So until they get over that hump, man, I'm not, again, I think Baylor will be improved for sure. But again, we're talking about a crazy wide open Big 12 where anything can happen and wild ball is going to happen. So for me with Baylor, it's show me what you got. I don't buy it until you show me that you can do something.
I'm leaning Baylor in this game, and I'm going to pick them to win outright. Hugh Freeze, if you want to talk wacky, goofy, whatever coaches, I'm going to say Hugh Freeze. I think Hugh Freeze is a loony toony. And the way we've talked about this, we've never talked about Auburn football hardly ever on this game. But last week we had a whole little mini segment about Auburn and the ridiculousness of awarding themselves championships and then saying that they're going to be calling the offense with one person on first down and another coordinator on third down and second down so-and-so, and he can override at any moment. And what in the world? It's ridiculousness. And Baylor will take advantage of that because Baylor has actually been recruiting well, especially in the transfer portal. And it's at home and it's a night game. And I know it's Baylor, but we've been to Baylor at a night game and they show up and they're excited. And hopefully Baylor stays in this game enough to keep the students excited. Because I don't give a crap about that SEC loyalty crap. And can't stand Baylor, but I will pick Baylor to win this game.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, I to your point, we did talk about the run plays by committee or play calling by committee. Look, that shit doesn't work with your quarterbacks. I sure don't think it's going to work with your play callers. If you don't have a designated play caller, or if you have 3 designated play callers, to me, that means you don't have a designated play caller. Agreed. You don't quite trust anybody. You aren't quite sure. That is hard to get everybody on the same page when you've got orders on different downs coming from 3 different coaches. So we'll see how that works out. I'm skeptical of it. So yeah, I don't know. This one, agreed. This one's wide open. I think this is going to be, again, I think Baylor's getting a lot of love this year. To your point, Rocky recruited well, but I'm still a show me about it.
All right. CJ is going to be at that game. Have fun. All right. Let's quickly talk about the Saturday games. Rod Baber should be joining us any minute. We want to get to Texas, Ohio State when he joins us. So Georgia Tech at Colorado also Friday night, just so you know. Georgia Tech, Blake Gideon, the new defensive coordinator there, going into Colorado. Saturday, Texas, Ohio State. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's also a couple of other big games. Alabama going into Florida State. They are 2 touchdown favorites. We'll see what their new young quarterback can do. UTSA going to Texas A&M. Is there any upset alert for you there?
Not even a little bit.
Aggies are 24.5-point favorites. I don't know. When was the last time they even scored 24.5? I know UTSA is completely rebuilding. They were a little bit of a mini juggernaut recently, but not anymore.
Yeah, they had some moments and they were, they showed some flair. I just don't think. Again, I think A&M's going to be an improved team this year.
They're going to roll
really
at UTSA.
Yeah.
All right. Another top 10. This is a big one. Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, LSU, Clemson, Dabo Sweeney, and what's his face from the coach of LSU with the fake accent?
Brian Kelly.
Thank you. Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. I have so many names to remember all the time. Number 9, LSU at 4, Clemson. Prime time, 7:30 p.m. Clemson time. Clemson field goal favorites at home. What do you think about this game? 2 like Heisman contending quarterbacks.
This one for me is a toss-up. I've got to say, this one is kind of tickling my upset alert. Like, I don't know. I think
What?
Yeah, look, because it's at Clemson, still have Clemson. I did the pick'ems and everything, but this was probably one of my lowest confidence picks. I have Clemson winning, but I think LSU might come in and shake things up here. So because it's at Clemson, I'm giving the nod to them, in the Battle of the Tigers here. But I don't know. I think LSU might do something this year. So I think that's going to be a really fun game to watch and keep an eye out. I don't know.
Clemson is going to whoop the LSU. I'd say Tiger, but they're all Tigers. Clemson's going to roll. Cade Klubnik is just, he's elite. He's on a mission. I'm all about Clemson taking down LSU. I would take 3.5. I would take 7 on this one. Like I'm all in on Clemson at home at night. And when was the last time LSU won their big opening weekend, big deal game? When was the last time they did that? I wouldn't bet them to do it. All right. Oh, CB with a bold prediction. He has Klubnik winning the Heisman this year. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Go Tigers. Miracle Martinez, go with the LSU. And then David Wheeler, outside of Clemson, of our game, Clemson LSU is probably the next best game. I agree. I think that one's pretty exciting for the Saturday. Sunday, just a note, just watch the game, check it out. Lenora Sellers, 13, South Carolina, hosts Virginia Tech Sunday afternoon. And then we get a top 10 showdown again. But is this really a top 10 showdown if 10 is Miami? 6 Notre Dame, we saw them. They have a new quarterback. Coming off their national championship appearance against at 10 Miami. Notre Dame 2.5-point favorites. Take it. Take the money and run. Bet on everything you own on Notre Dame. Don't literally listen to me. Not real American dollars. I'm just saying, yeah. What do you think, Megan? I have Notre Dame all the way.
I think this is another one where quarterback play matters, right? We talked earlier. Is Beck going to step in and replace Cam Ward? Well, I mean, he's had some time there. He's been there for a minute. I mean, he booked it out of Georgia pretty much right after they got eliminated from playoff contention. So, I don't know. I don't know that I would take this easy money per se. I think this is going to be one of those games that it's either going to be just a knockout fest and it's going to be decided by 1 or 2 points, or Notre Dame's going to pull away and win by 30. I don't think there's a middle ground here in that game.
Yeah. So Carson Beck, we know, a little different situation than Quinn Ewers coming out of the season. They both didn't have the, round 1 NFL draft grade that they would have predicted even the year before. But he had that really bad injury in the game against Texas. So he had to recover, and he gets to recover with NIL money at Miami. And we saw, Cam Ward do so well in that system. He's an elite athlete. We see he do so well in that system that he gets to, got drafted number 1 in the draft overall. Cam Ward to my Tennessee Titans. CB Bert as in Bert Auburn is in Miami now too. Okay, we're gonna have to see that. They might need Bert Auburn to win them a game. I hope he gets it done if it's on the line for him. But if we're looking at coaches, we saw Mario Cristobal make the dumbest mistakes that cost him games. How many times now? And Marcus Freeman, even though they got handed in the national championship game, he is an elite coach. I trust him more than I trust Mario Cristobal. I trust his development more than I trust Mario Cristobal. And I think just overall Miami's overrated. Well, it'll play out. It'll play out. But I'm gonna pick Notre Dame big. I'm picking Clemson big. Aggies big. Yeah,
We
that's
got
where I'm
blowouts all weekend, huh?
Yeah, last game, Megan, Monday night. Looking ahead, Monday night, TCU at North Carolina is the Monday night game. Of course, there's a million games on Saturday, like a million. Oklahoma, just Illinois State is coming to Oklahoma. We said UTSA, Michigan has New Mexico, Texas Tech. If you want to get an eye on them, they have the Fighting Arkansas Pine Bluffs. 2 games on Sunday, 1 on Monday. TCU, North Carolina.
On Monday, yeah, that's that Belichick playing Monday Night Football,
Yes.
right? He's just
Yes.
used to that. So
there you go. That's probably why they put it on Monday for him.
Yeah, no doubt. Like another one, that's TCU going into North Carolina, favored by 3. So I'm not sure that the college world is sold on Belichick as a college coordinator here, college head coach. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird step to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't let my child play for Bill Belichick. I'll just say that. TCU at North Carolina. That's Monday night game. So again, we said Texas college football has games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting tomorrow at 4:30. So perfect timing. We just wrapped up our conversation on college football, and we are welcoming OG, day one partner, day one friend of Fire the Cannon since season 1, season 2. Rod Babers graces us with his expertise and presence every season. Thank you, friend.
No, thank you, ladies. Thank y'all for having me. Congratulations for getting it back going. I'm glad y'all back on. That's for sure.
Thank you. Lots of people are waiting to see you. Can't wait to hear Rod, my guy, Rod B's coming. Miracle Martinez, Rod. Yeah, people want to hear from you.
That's family right there, man. I appreciate y'all. That's why I love football season. It's like a big family reunion. We all get back together again.
It is. It's great.
And your daughter made her podcast debut on our show.
Yeah, she hasn't been on any other podcast. She has not been on any other platform or YouTube or anything. You guys are the only one. That's pretty wild. That's crazy.
I mean, not to sound like an Aggie here, but we should hang the banner. Like I feel like we need that banner.
Rod Babers' daughter. Yeah. How's she doing? Is she well?
She's doing great. She started, I guess you can call it pre-K this past week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we get to drop her off. She cried. Mama cried the first time.
Okay.
It's all right. It's all good because they say she was great. They said she just cried it out for like a good 10 minutes, and then she just battled through. And I was like, "There you go. You can cry. It's all good, but I'm gonna need you to battle through." So she made me proud. I'm happy.
Wait till the day you drop her off, and she's like, "Bye," and then you're gonna cry.
That's it. My feelings would be hurt. I'm not gonna lie. My feelings would be hurt a little bit. She's like, "I don't need pops," but she saw me today when I came to pick her up, and she ran to me. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm still the MVP right now."
That's right.
Aww.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. Well, welcome. We just kind of talked about the best games of this college football week 1 that we're looking forward to. We'll ask you before we dive into Texas, Ohio State. Outside of Texas, Ohio State, what big game are you most excited to watch and why?
Oh man, it's a Clemson game. That's probably because I don't know, for some reason I feel like people are sleeping on Clemson. Now I know Texas whipped them pretty good last year, and they couldn't stop the outside zone. Texas ran the outside zone like 23 times from like 240 some yards. It was crazy. And they fired their defense coordinator, but they got so much talent, and Cade Klubnik is a dude. So honestly, I just want to see if Clemson really, in my opinion, kind of upsets the apple cart a little bit. People are talking about Texas and talking about Penn State and Ohio State, and of course, I mean, Notre Dame's getting a lot of love. I feel like Clemson's not getting enough love, so I can't wait to see how they start the season. And people talk about Dabo being a little bit old school, and he is. But man, there's no doubt about it. Like, Dabo now has kind of, I think, found his groove in the new landscape of college sports. Everybody's got to find their own groove. Sark has found his. I do think now this team for Dabo kind of represents the new age Clemson model. So I can't wait to see it. I think they're going to be pretty good. I think Clemson's going to shock some people.
I like
Well, I'm not sleeping on them. I put them in my legit contender for a national championship. I said they're going to handle LSU no problem. Like, I'm all about Cade Klubnik. I think this is my Westlake kiddo. I think this is, I have him up in the top 2-3 teams in the country for sure.
Yep.
Are you going to be in Columbus this weekend?
I will not. I regret it. I apologize. I got lots of folks and family that's heading up there. My man Bobby Burton was actually getting on the road today, I believe, to head on up there. So I can't make it. I apologize, folks. But I've heard that there's some brave souls. And hell, are you guys going? Are y'all braving this trip?
Yeah, we'll be up there.
The brave souls. So y'all stick close to family, because I've heard they can be some real degenerates up there. So y'all stick close to family.
Yeah, we're not going to jail for them. Not Megan says she might, but
no, don't do it.
I mean,
don't do it, Megan. Don't do it.
I make no promises.
Now you're gonna be looking too good. You ain't gonna need to be that. I already know you got an outfit ready to go. You're gonna be coordinated, looking clean. Don't let them
look. As long as it's Saturday night and not Friday night, we'll be fine.
I'm not missing those tickets.
That is true. Yeah, you can't miss that. I don't even want to ask what the tickets went for.
They were actually not that bad compared to like at Alabama.
Really?
They weren't. I think we paid half that we paid to be inside the Alabama game. So
Okay.
not that bad. Not that bad. I mean, could we do a lot more things with that money? Yes.
Hey,
is there anything else I want to do with that money? No.
No, you gotta be there because history, gonna be made. All right.
Yes.
Our coming out party and all that. You want to be there for it.
Well, it's going to be a beautiful 74 degrees. What do you think about that game temp? Does that work for you? 74 degrees and mostly sunny?
Man, I mean, Texas is going to be ready for it. It's going to feel like a vacation for them boys, man. And Sarkin had them out there practicing in the heat, too. He said he wanted to get ready for those, those midday games where it's still going to be high, still got a little bit of summer left over before you really get into the fall. So they were out there in the heat a lot. Even some of the practices I went to, man, I was out there sweating. You know what I mean? So I think that weather, honestly, I feel like it'll be an advantage for Texas, even though, I don't think it's a disadvantage either way for either team. But for Texas coming from that heat to that kind of cool weather with a breeze, oh man, I got a feeling those guys are gonna feel like they floating.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Looking at it, like Texas has the advantage in the heat, no doubt. Texas conditions in the heat, it wears a lot of guys out. I mean, hell, we saw that in 2019 with LSU here, right? They kept cramping up, they kept falling down, but they were struggling in that heat. They did need the breaks. They did need to pull their bull, to get themselves some breaks. And to the point, like Big Ten country, in the super cold, Rod, you tell us about it. Like playing in that super, super cold sucks too, which is where Ohio State would have the advantage. But a beautiful 72, I've heard 72 is the high. I mean, that's just fall weather. That's just,
that's football
weather right there.
Yeah, that's football weather right there. That's what I think ultimately that's, I don't know why I feel like it's an advantage for Texas because they've become so accustomed to the heat. Yeah. So, but I expect Sark says he's going to play a lot of guys. He said even in this game, he feels like he's got 15, 16 starters on defense. I expect to see, 15, 16, maybe even up to 18 guys rotating on defense, depending on how deep they like those D tackles and how deep they think they are in the secondary and at linebacker, of course, too. So either way, I think Texas will have the depth necessary that they'll be fresh in the fourth quarter and I think it may come down to that in the fourth quarter.
All right. So let's kind of go through the weekend leading up to this game and then a few storylines, and then we'll get into that coaching matchup. So let's say like this past weekend, they did the full mock game, right? They had stayed in a hotel together. They went to the full mock walkthrough. Tell us about that. I kind of listened to a little bit of Coach Brown on his podcast with Vince Young. They were talking about what all entails with a mock week, like a mock game set up for them. Tell us about your experience and what you know happened this past week, and how does that prepare them to go onto the road together?
Yeah, you just don't want, it's all about the details, right? So now they're grinding in on the details, and that does include that the guys know where they're supposed to be. They know, the transition from wherever they're meeting, the buses to the hotel, the walkthrough schedules, all that. You don't want anybody to be surprised by anything. That's what the mock walkthrough is about, the mock game prep is all about. And it's, like I said, it can seem tedious to guys who've been through it over and over again. It's really for the young guys. It's for the newer guys there who haven't been through the whole process, the ritual of the day before the game and then the day of the game and that kind of stuff. So it's something that you do help. We do it. I did at the NFL level too. I mean, I bet even really sophisticated high-level high schools do it too. I didn't do it in high school, but I bet the big-time high school, I bet Westlake's doing it. I bet, Duncanville, those kind of high schools that play for state titles, year after year, they do that too. I think it's a way to grind on the details just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. That's what this is about. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to have the same focus. Everybody's got to have the same goals, and that's just part of it. You don't need anybody to be uncertain on those days, right? Right before the game. You want everybody to be certain of their job on the field and their duties off the field.
That's going to really help too, because they're coming into, they don't get a prep game at home, right? They're not getting San Jose State this weekend.
Sorry to interrupt, Rocky, but the new coaches too. I didn't mention that. That's important. You got a lot of new coaches on the staff now, and they ain't used to how Sark does things. So that's also important. I'm sorry, Rocky. There you go.
No. That's a great point. We'll get to it in a minute too, but Ohio State has 2 coordinators that are brand new, right, to their format. So this is a big deal because they don't get a warm-up game this year, right? They don't get a San Jose State until the week when they get back. So talk about like the impact of both of the teams, the pros and cons of both teams, this being game 1 for them. And we'll get into it, but game 1 for the quarterbacks too, as the starters.
Yeah, I think honestly, and I thought about this for a while, the fact that Texas has so much continuity returning with the coaching staff, and I'm talking about the coordinators overall, right? No, there's no program in the country returning the head coach, the OC, the DC, the special teams coach, and the strength and conditioning coach for the 5th straight year. There's no continuity like that in the country. And I have to think that it has a huge advantage going up against a program like Ohio State winning a national title. So give them props. But now with a new OC, a new DC, I feel like if indeed it does come down to you having to execute some of the more complex schemes and concepts within your playbook, you got to get deep in that bag. Let's say it's one of them games, you got to dig a little bit deeper. I feel like advantage Texas, because I feel like if you're Ohio State, it's only how deep can you go? The guys just got there. I mean, they really haven't really been able to explore kind of the depth of that playbook yet, or at least in any detail to be able to execute it. For Texas, man, guys like Anthony Hill, guys like Michael Taft, guys like Malik Muhammad, even obviously a second-year Colin Simmons, but Ethan Burke on that D-line. Man, them guys, and so many others, by the way, have been in the systems for a while. And yes, you've had some new position coaches every now and then come in. So every different teaching style and maybe a different terminology, but for the most part, the system is the same. And so I think if they need to get deep into their bag, they'll have the ability to do that, when I'm not sure Ohio State will have the depth of knowledge and detail because those guys just got there. They probably will later on in the season, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Nate's takes brought up Sark's special talent, hiring badass coaches and treating them well enough to want to stay. Yeah, agreed. PK and Flood were great hires there, man. So, to that point too, Babers, I think you bring up a really great thing. These guys have worked with each other. Texas staff knows each other well. They know what they're going to do. They know how to anticipate, and they know who is in what role. Like, that has been clearly defined. I want to ask you a little bit about that on that Ohio State side. We know Ryan Day, obviously, like you said, won the national championship. We know the man can coach. He seems to be one of those guys that you can bait him into kind of getting him worked up a little bit and maybe trying to thump his chest a little bit. And look, this is coming from a former, I'm a Lions fan. We know that Patricia was a former Lions coach. Yeah. Didn't work out so well for him in Detroit, but he's one of those guys too, right? Yes. Talk about the differences in the coaching styles. Like, there's a lot of similarities, but talk about those kind of differences as far as, confidence. Can you bait Sark? Can you trick him up? How, is that going to play into Sark's game plan with Ryan Day, with that coaching staff? Can you speak to that a little bit?
That's a great question. I think Sark has matured. I think we saw Sark kind of take the cheese a few times Think about it. Texas' last true road loss was Oklahoma State, right? 2022.
Yep, almost 3 years.
Boom, been a while because I think Sark is mature. He's figured out some things. Do you remember that? And by the way, strangely enough, that Oklahoma's defense was coached on the defensive side. The coordinator was Derek Mason. He was coaching right after Jim Knowles left in 2021 for Ohio State. And similarly, you got Matt Patricia now also coaching with the ghost of Jim Knowles. But anyway, sidebar, getting back to it, that Oklahoma State game, remember how many overthrows that Quinn had in that game, throwing it deep? It was a swirling whirlwind at Oklahoma State. It was Quinn. Turns out Quinn hurt his hand. We found it out later on, too. Xavier Worthy was dealing with issue. But Sark kept chunking it deep because they kept baiting him, actually. They kept sitting on routes and basically giving them the deep, low percentage throw. And essentially saying that Texas couldn't hit it consistently, which they didn't. And it really got them behind the chains, and it really stalled the offense a lot in that game. And I think since we've seen Sark and maybe Georgia, you can kind of throw it out there as a game where maybe the end of the Georgia game, the SEC title game, I feel like Sark almost ran out of plays. Strangely enough, say like against that would work against that Georgia defense. As a matter of fact, he said that someone asked him what's the lesson he learned from the college football playoff guys in the offseason, and he said, "I need more stuff." He said, I just need more stuff. And I think he meant I need more concepts. I need more plays. I need more cheat codes, more hacks, because we got more games against better elite opponents.
Right.
So can we also say he has more open to him with Arch?
I do think he had. Yes. That's a great way to segue that to start learning lessons. I do think now with the offense, there'll be elements to it that he'll be able to weaponize. They just couldn't do it consistently with Quinn. Ghost of Texas was like, what's up? And I think the deep ball is one of them, right? We just talked about that. I think he'll be much better deep ball. I think the scramble, I love quarterbacks that can scramble. As a defender, I hate it, but it's the best cheat code in football right now. Quarterbacks are averaging more yards per scramble in the NFL than yards per pass. That's how effective scrambling is, and Arch is going to be really good at it. Quinn was okay at it, but Arch is going to be, I think, one of the best scramblers in college football.
Man, I thank you for saying that. I feel like that is one thing with all of this Arch madness and this Manning mania that we have going on. Like, you can't go 3 seconds without having a question. I mean, I was watching the press days, the media days with Ryan Day, and I swear to God, like a third of the questions were about Arch Manning. Like, I could feel I was getting frustrated as a Texas fan. Like, with all of this craziness going on, I really appreciate you saying that. Like, the fact that Manning can scramble, I think he surprises a lot of people. That kid is bigger than you think he is, and he's fast as shit. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. And I think a lot of people underestimate that. So as much as we know that he's got a great head for the game, we know that he can throw the ball, he can sling the ball for sure. I think a lot of people underestimate how much his legs are an asset and are going to come into play when things are getting close, right? I think that's going to be a game changer.
Especially until the offensive line gets some reps together and some continuity. Right. I think the offensive line is going to be good. But I do know the offensive line works as a unit more so than any other group on the field. And sometimes it takes a while, right, for them to get in unison, to be hive-minded. Until then, great to have a quarterback that can use his legs. Heard Mac Brown even talking about how he thinks it's going to help them solve their red zone issues. He's like, because he was like, we didn't have red zone issues when I was at Texas. It was like, because VY could run. And Coach I think he's right about that too. I think a lot of your red zone issues will get fixed with Arch's legs. It'll help pass protection too. And ultimately, I love what Arch said about the advice he gets from his granddad all the time. Like, get down and get out of bounds. All right, yeah, you can run. It's good. It's fun. Yeah, you're great. You're a great athlete. 20 miles per hour, whatever. Get down and get out of bounds. All right, so, you know what I mean? He's got the wisdom of Paul talking to him like, hey, because that's what I want to do too. I just want to make sure that even though last year he was used like Tim Tebow in the offense, he don't carry that over. You ain't Tim Tebow, no, buddy. You're the most valuable asset of the most valuable college football program in the country right now. Protect yourself, young man, please.
Yeah, quarterback, protect thyself, right? All right.
Just make the T-shirts.
Yeah, the mobile threat of Arch is huge, but I think also too in the red zone, having hopefully a really healthy CJ Baxter back and a Christian Clark, those two bodies are such a threat on the goal line that we did not have last year. It became really predictable what was happening on the goal line a lot last year, and having Arch as that, extra running threat or moving threat is going to be huge for the red zone offense that Sark had planned on having going into the season last year. They worked on, we talk about it. He takes what they need to work on the most, and he goes to town on it, and he did with the red zone. And they even started the season without those two players as a top red zone offense until they faced better defenses. Do you agree that it's going to be a huge difference with Baxter and Clark?
I love what you said. I don't know if you meant to say about the bodies. I don't know if you meant to say it like that, but
yeah,
the body of Cedric Baxter. That dude is huge. Like, I'm serious. Like, last time I remember a running back being that. I mean, Ricky's got to be the last running back that Texas had that was that big. I remember Chris Warren was kind of big too, but I just haven't seen a running back that's as thick as this dude and as big as he is. So I agree with you about his frame. He is ideal for power gap schemes, and that's basically when you kind of more of a downhill running scheme instead of the outside zone, which Texas loves and they're really good at. And Trey Weiss was awesome, but when Cedric Baxter's healthy, he's going to add the element of a power run game. And if you mix that and add that with your zone blocking schemes, I think ultimately you could have a very, very diverse running game. And like you said, not so predictable. That's the problem with Texas run game last year. You got real predictable. So I think that's going to be a plus whenever he's healthy. And you're right. I mean, if I got to account for a +1 of a quarterback, then I lose the math, right? I lose the numbers game on defense when I have to account for the quarterback's legs. And that's the +1 in the running game that Texas also has been lacking in short yardage and in goal line, red zone situations. That's going to also change the math in Texas' favor too. So it's weird to say that Arch is going to fix everything, but there's a possibility that a lot of places you've been lacking, third down offense, red zone offense, your deep ball issues, that he could actually just fix those. I mean, his skill set is that diverse and he has that much upside.
Rocky, go ahead. It looks like you had something.
Oh, no. I'm trying to keep up with all the comments too. I agree. The offensive line is going to take a minute. We know they're shuffling people around. Goosby's been, resting his hand, and they've been, moving people around. But we know Coach Flood is the master at preparing and cross training, right? Yeah. So having players ready to play multiple positions. Trevor Goosby is the most experienced, right, as of right now, left tackle, right? Left tackle. So we're hoping that he is good to go, ready to go. And that's going to make a huge difference because he knows that he's been in this system, right? He knows the scheme. We saw him go into, A&M, and we saw him play against Georgia, and we saw him do big things and step up big time in those moments. So I would love to have him protecting Arch Manning in those moments. I have a question for you about, going beyond the O-line, because we talk about that so much. Let's talk about those receivers / tight ends. And I want to kind of get your feel on, we know, I saw that. We know we have DeAndre Moore. We know we have Ryan Wingo. We know we have Parker Livingstone while Mosley's still resting with it. Who comes in next? We have tight end, Jack Endries. Let's ask, who are you looking at really to lead this receiving core, maybe in Ohio State and then long term, but also what about that 12 personnel?
Yeah, I think the one that we're underselling has got to be Jack Endries. Ryan Wingo is going to be awesome. I mean, Ryan Wingo, Stephen Sark said there are certain guys in his offense, the ball just finds them. The ball is going to find Ryan Wingo. And Sark's going to funnel usage to him. He's one of those freaks guys where, as a DB, usually I'm defending certain traits. I'm defending elite traits, right? When I defend Xavier Worthy, what do I have to defend? Speed. Defend the speed. I got to defend the speed, right? And then every receiver has a different kind of elite trait that they bring to the table. Like if I'm defending D-Mo, I got to worry about, his change of direction, get in and out of breaks, man. He's nasty transitioning in and out of breaks. A guy like Ryan Wingo, though, he's got like 3 or 4 of those elite traits. He is fast. He can, I think really like just run right past you if you don't turn your hips in time. He's got verticality to his game, so he can catch the ball at his highest point. I think he's really underrated with the ball in his hands. That's why Sark likes to run those reverses with him. That dude, his hands, he's nasty going downhill. So he's got like 3 or 4 of those elite traits. And so I think that's why he's my guy. He's the number one guy for me. That I think if I'm looking at the number one wide receivers, I know Demo. I'm not disrespecting Demo. Demo's legit. But if I'm talking about who's toughest to cover and defend, that dude is a handful. Like he's I don't give a damn. Ohio State, LSU's corners. You take some of the best corners in the country, but they're gonna have a problem with Ryan Wingo.
Another thing we hear about Ryan Wingo is how hard he works, right? Like he's a really hard worker. Sark has mentioned it too. And we always say, like, when your best players are your hardest workers, you got something special there, right? So if we know, like Arch keeping the players after, to go over more reps, or, we hear about the defensive, some of the defensive players staying in the weight room, putting in extra reps. When your best players are your hardest workers, that we got something special right there.
Yeah, and he went to the cookout, man. That was good.
That's a lifetime invite, man. Lifetime invite.
Yeah, we saw them pictures. We like, man, he really kicking it. It wasn't just he didn't just go visit. No, he was kicking it hard.
Brings Arch to the cookout.
Cookout, man. So to me, that's the chemistry right there. You can't quantify that. But I think, after he and Demo, and they're going to be great. I think Demo and Ryan Wingo are really going to be able to set the tone. Demo will be that guy. They'll put him in motion a lot of targets to motion with him. He's underrated as a deep threat too. Remember last year, he should have had more deep completions, dropped, I think, a couple of those. He's underrated as a deep threat. And that's good because Arch is going to launch that thing. I mean, it's just in his nature. At practice, he's launching it. Like, and I was like, he may not launch it as much in practice. It may have been just something that Sark has kind of been able to work out of his system. Nope.
Not so much.
No, that dude's chunking it. He's chunking it deep. And I love it. I think it's great because I think he's got bigger receiving targets now for some of those deep contested situations down the field. Ryan Wingo, a bigger target. Emmett Mosley, whenever he gets healthy, will be a bigger target. Hey, what's up? Big time.
Dang, we have, Amanda Atwell, what up, girl? I'm going to see you next Friday night. Mike Harge is in the house. Ghost is in the house. We have so many friends, Texas football friends in the house. This is awesome. Thanks for supporting everybody. It's good to see you. All right, so we talked a little offense. I know you're giving love to the young receivers. You're looking for a Wingo. What are you looking for, a Wingo moment or a Wingo year?
Wingo year. Wingo gonna have big. Yeah,
nice.
I think Sark's gonna try to upstage Jeremiah Smith a little bit with Wingo, one of his receivers. He did that with Helm versus Loveland last year. I think he's gonna want people leaving there talking about Wingo. He's kind of hinted at that if Wingo has as many opportunities as these other freshman receivers, he'd have been just as good. I think Sark's gonna be trying to play a little seed.
I feel like that's part of that baiting. Right?
Yeah,
bait a little bit there because Texas did a good job with Smith last year. He really did. And while we're on the Wingo train, man, I gotta bring this up. This is funny. We're talking about him, how well he was doing. Nate brings up Wingo was awesome last year, and he couldn't even see. Listen, maybe Wingo was the one that needed the Warby Parker NIL deal, right? Like,
I saw it on my timeline today. I was like, okay. Got the Warby Parker glasses. All right.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead. This is the perfect time to have our little Manning moment. We have Rod. We have a little Manning moment, and we like to take just a minute and show whatever Manning's up to on TikTok or social media. Let's look at our little Manning moment. Hold on, here it is.
People said I didn't look like your average football player. He had more of an accountant look, but I saw the field differently. And when I started wearing Warby Parker glasses in middle school, it all just clicked. All of a sudden, he's reading playbooks on the bus. Having good vision changed my life. There was also a great mentor. I think it was the glasses. Yeah, maybe.
I love how I love, because we've seen Peyton and Eli for years, like, not self-deprecating, but they don't take themselves so seriously. They have fun with themselves, and to see that passed down to the next generation, like, I could see, and that made me great. It was the glasses, and he's like, oh, maybe it was your genetics and your genes, and you're a Manning. No, it's the glasses.
No, that was.
Now Ryan Wingo has vision too.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
telling
pretty
you.
damn good, man. I ain't gonna lie. That was pretty good. And I'm surprised somebody's gonna do it after the Ohio State game. Hopefully they'll have some more highlights. Somebody's gonna do the Clark Kent Superman thing because he just seems like, and that's a lot of Clark Kent right there going on. And I think he's gonna put the cape on versus Ohio State. So somebody gonna make the montage and make the video because they got the Clark Kent video now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And how does he look even more handsome with those glasses?
Oh my God.
Was it
It
all,
was
man?
pretty adorable. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was our Manning moment. We like to have a little Manning moment on the show. That was pretty good. All right, I don't know how long we get you tonight. We're so grateful that you're here. I don't know how long we get you, but I have to ask you, let's talk about maybe some keys to the road win. What are you thinking about? What is it going to take for Texas to win this game? Give us 3 things that Texas needs to get done for this game to win.
Okay, that's good. I'll start with the defense going up against that Ohio State offense. Jeremiah Smith, everybody knows, best wide receiver, maybe the best offensive player in college football. They got the best wide receiving room in college football too. So Texas is going to have to try to win the numbers game in with their pass defense. They did this last year. Basically last season when they played Ohio State in the playoffs, they played with a lot of 2 deep safeties. Put an umbrella over the defense, essentially. Don't let anybody get behind you or anybody get, out obviously over the top of that defense. It worked really, really well. Jeremiah Smith had his worst performance of the season. So I think they're going to go into this game with the same mentality. I think you'll see a lot of 2 deep shell coverages, probably 60% of the time they're going to be in 2 deep shell coverages. But the key to that is you can obviously keep the top on the defense, but you're going to have to play a lot of the times their run defense with a lighter box. That means you're going to play with fewer defenders than they have blockers. So they'll have a run game advantage. Now, last year, man, that advantage was moot. It didn't matter because you got Alfred Collins, you got Vernon Broughton, and then, you got before that, you got guys like Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. Texas actually had the best defense in the country when defending a run with a light box the last couple of years. So those D tackles you brought in, your Murad Watsons of the world, the Travis Shaws of the world.
Earl Canoe.
Yes, Earl Canoe, all those guys you brought in. This is a hell of a test because if I'm Ohio State, one of the first things I'm going to do when you drop those 2 safeties. Now, if you don't drop your 2 safeties back, oh, well, that's great because that means a lot of times we got some single coverage, and that means you only got 1 single deep safety, so they may try to test it that way. I doubt it very seriously. I think PK is going to go in with the smart choice, which is let's take away the strength of this offense, which is their wide receiving room, and then I think you'll be left with the conundrum, where is can you stop the run with a light box? Ohio State will test it with C.J. Donaldson. He's a bigger back. They got James Peoples, who's another back, and the interior of that O-line. Now, that's what the strength of the O-line is, guys. Last year, they lost their 2 tackles, but they do return. They in the middle, Will Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, he's a center, and Shabola, I believe is his name. I probably mispronounced it, but he's a guard. So the strength of their O-line, at least allow the experience returning on the O-line, is actually in the interior. And the uncertainty question mark for Texas is in the interior of their D-line. That's a matchup y'all going to want to watch. That's going to be big. Can they establish a run against Texas? Because if they can run against that light box, Texas is going to have to bring that safety down. They bring that safety down, that's going to leave the numbers. That's going to dissipate the numbers advantage they would have had in the passing defense. So that's one. Sorry, I went one long there.
No, that was good.
A second one I'll throw out there. The uncertainty that Sark must face with Matt Patricia calling the plays. I do think Ohio State has an advantage because Sark has no film. He's got no sample at all on what Matt Patricia is going to do in terms of how he is going to attack that Texas offense with the pieces he inherited on the Ohio State defense. And he hasn't called plays in college ever. Now, he did face the same situation essentially with Wink Martindale last year, and he was great. He essentially he manhandled that Michigan defense and made quick work of that Michigan defense. He just stayed away from those 2 D tackles inside, threw a lot of swing routes, threw a lot of, swing screens, quick screens to the outside, to Jaden Blue, a lot of outside zone, and then Michigan really had no answer for it. So in this game, maybe you stay away from Caleb Downs. Maybe that's your only rule that you have. You try to stay away from that guy. He's the best defensive player potentially in the country. And then Sark just work his cheat codes and his hacks. I do think he will try to unleash Arch Manning on Ohio State. So I think he'll be the aggressor, or at least try to be the aggressor, force Matt Patricia to react and have to adapt and adjust to what he's doing, rather than Sark adjusting and adapting to Matt Patricia being the aggressor. So I think it'll be kind of a race to who can be the aggressor first in that matchup. And I think Sark will open up and be really aggressive.
So to that point, do you think Texas follows a similar game plan to what they had in the college playoff? Like, do you think that's going to be something that follow it until it doesn't work, make them prove that they can beat it? Like, what's your thought on that?
No, I think Sark, because Sark is very different, right? In these big non-conference games. Actually, I just went back and watched Alabama 2022. I watched Alabama 2023, and I watched Michigan last season, because I'm trying to figure out how that Sark script is going to look. And there are a few things that are, I think, that are common, right, in all those game plans. I think you're going to get high early down, early game pass rate. Usually, so you're going to pass more on first and second down, because that means Sark is in his bag. I think the average in those 3 games around 50% early game, early down pass rate. I think in that, if I'm not mistaken, in that Bama game in 2022, he was at 58%. That usually means Sark he's in his groove. That means he's really innovative and creative when he's calling a lot of pass plays. And think about those games, guys. Your run game really didn't do much in those matchups. Anybody remember what your run game numbers were in that Michigan game? You ran for 32 for 143. You know your leading rusher was in that Michigan game? Ryan Wingo, with that reverse.
That reverse that went along, yeah.
Who's your leading rusher? In that Bama game in 2023, you ran for 37 for 105 total. Your leading rusher had 14 rushes for 57 yards. And Sark's not really concerned about it, because I think he has so many plays that he's got from his months of preparation, and he's like, I'm all right. We're good. I ain't worried about second long. I ain't worried about third long. I got something for that. And remember, I don't think it'll be like it was in the college football playoff, because Sark, he admitted, I ran out of plays. I ran out of stuff. Mm-hmm. He ain't gonna run out of stuff.
Well, let's finish that sentence. I ran out of stuff I could do with Quinn Ewers. I'm just saying, I'm not disrespecting Quinn and everything he did for the program. I'm saying
could be.
Arch has the potential to do more of the playbook. And now that he's got more of his big body speed receivers, he's got, just different parts and bits and pieces to get more of what, like when he could open up the playbook at Alabama in those last few years, that last year at Alabama, when he could open up that playbook, that says a lot that maybe he hasn't been able to fully do, especially with injuries. And when you lose, like we said a minute ago, when you lose Christian Clark and CJ Baxter right before kickoff, that can change things, limit his playbook. So now he's going to be able to have more playbook. Look, you know what? We have a special guest joining.
Hello.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, how are you guys?
I said, Amanda, just get in here.
I figured. I just got my setup. I just got done breaking down my setup for the last show, but I'm still dressed, so might as well say hi.
I was gonna say you
need to come say hi to Megan. We're talking about next week. Well, this week Ohio State, and you've been watching the show. But next week we have the big home game, right? The big first home game. So we'll see you next week at the home game. So Rod was giving us his 3 keys to a Texas win. He's given us 2, right? You have one more for us, and then Amanda will ask you.
Try to be quick so Amanda can get,
No. We're not in a hurry. You go ahead.
Go ahead.
I started this like 8 to 9 minutes ago. I started giving you my 3 keys.
No, you're our guest.
That's why we got you here, buddy.
You're our guest. We got you, so we're gonna milk it. Let's go.
My last one, I'll go with the Arch factor. Quarterbacks, period. Arch versus Julian Sand, almost kind of what I'm saying. Because I think, Sark has some experience with Arch. Obviously, he got a couple starts on his belt and got a lot of quality playing time when Texas was up big in games. But he's been with them for 2 years, though, right? And he's had a chance to immerse himself in that Sark playbook, and he's had reps with the receivers. Julian Sand, I know he's been there with the program, but he hadn't been with the program and been with the continuity, the offensive continuity, obviously, that has surrounded Arch. They don't have that at Ohio State for Julian Sand. And so I think the quarterback advantage to me, I think it's a clear advantage for Texas. And it's not because I don't think Julian Sand's a good player. I think Julian Sand is a good player. But I look at the continuity around Arch. I think it's great. And I know Julian Sand's got the weapons. So Jeremiah Smith, that wide receiving core, they are legit. But just having 2 years in that offense and experience of a couple of starts, even getting to see the speed of Georgia, even though he didn't perform well in that game versus Georgia, being able to see that kind of speed, that's kind of the speed you're going to see, all right, versus Ohio State. And what is Quinn's best games? Quinn's best games were those early big non-con games, right? Bama games, the Michigan games. We all were waiting to see more of Quinn like that, right? Or him to build on that. I think for Arch, you're going to see him play a lot of great games, but the reason Quinn played so well in those games because he was so well prepared. I think Arch is going to be very well prepared for this game. That's what Sark does better, probably than any other coach in the country. His game plan and preparation is elite. His adjustments actually is probably what needs a little bit of work. And I think in this game, he's going to be adjusting a lot because he doesn't really know what Matt Patricia's going to bring to the table. But I think the Arch factor is Texas has the advantage there. And I know a lot of people say, oh, of course he's the better quarterback. But I think it's more of the infrastructure around him that gives him that advantage.
I'm glad you mentioned about the adjustments because he even acknowledged in the press conference on Monday that, they have a plan and the plan is to change the plan, right? Something like that. Like they know, something along the lines of everybody has a plan to get punched in the mouth, that kind of line, right? So they know they're prepared for once they get out there and actually see what the new coordinators are doing, then they will adjust as they go, right? And figure out the environment and the space. So Amanda, we'll ask you if you have a few keys to a Texas win, and then Megan and I have some thoughts on what Texas needs to get done.
Okay, I think my biggest thing after just hearing all of the yapping leading up to this game and just all of the unknowns and trying to control those unknowns is just who's going to make the least mistakes. And on that, who is going to capitalize, whichever team capitalizes on those mistakes is going to be the one that wins. So if Texas can force some mistakes and then capitalize on those mistakes, I think that's going to be a major key. Another one is the O-line. If the O-line if Trevor Gooseby can stay in there and stay healthy, I have a lot more confidence. But if it starts getting battered and people start getting shifted around and Arch doesn't have as much time, I think that will tamper with some success. What was my one other thing? Sorry, my brain's been running constantly. But yeah, I just think the biggest thing is giving Arch a lot of time. And then also, I think I saw this yesterday. I was at the gym, so I couldn't hear the audio on it. I just mentioned this in our podcast of on Get Up, the ESPN show yesterday. The subtitle was, "Is Arch overconfident?" I'm like, okay, I've heard overhyped. I've heard Manning contender. I have not heard of any quarterback ever being accused of being overconfident.
Overconfident. Does he believe in his abilities
Arch
too
needs
much?
to be overconfident. Going into the shoe, Arch needs to be overconfident.
It's called swagger. You should have.
He needs to have that swagger. You are in
swagger. Look it up.
Yeah. You need to be in. And we were talking about like all these Texas quarterbacks have all their different personalities. Like you saw it with Quinn Ewers. He was a bit more stoic. Vince Young had more of the swagger to him, and Arch kind of has a little bit more of the swagger to him. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing is I don't think there's any such thing as overconfidence in a game like this. I think you need to go in there with all the, like, just imagine the video that they played when they were waiting in the tunnel for Michigan last year with Lil Boozy playing. That's the kind of confidence and swagger. Like if Lil Boozy's playing, something's about to go down. I lived in Louisiana for a bit, so I know what that means.
I mean, that's something that I kind of crack up about, right? Like we hear, look, both sides have been doing their talking, both fan bases, let me be clear, both fan bases have been doing their talking. But the idea that Texas doesn't understand what it means to go into a hostile environment and play a football game.
Kyle Field.
Tell me you don't know football. Tell me you don't
Alabama.
know.
At night.
Exactly. Bama at night in Nick Saban's, his encore, right? Like wins by double digits. The first time that happened in a very long time to Bama at home under Nick Saban. Going into Kyle Field last year, look, we can talk about the Aggies all you want. That is a hostile environment. They built it up. It's loud. It's crazy in there. And Texas shut them up, right? They shut them down. Michigan was loud as shit the first few plays. And then when it became clear Texas was
got quiet real quick though.
It got quiet real fast. So just this concept or this idea, I understand the shoe is a tough place to play. It is a hostile environment, but to think that Texas has zero concept of what it's like, bitch, we're Texas. Like, come on.
Every game is a sellout. Game day is there. Everyone is mad and angry. Like, they do this every week.
This is why the Big 12 was so bitter about Texas leaving. They knew Texas Texas goes to Lubbock, that game is sold out. Texas goes to West Virginia, that game is sold out. Texas goes because there's all these make-believe rivals that people created in the Big 12. So the TCU apparently is a rival. Baylor is every single school is a rival.
Their rival. Yeah.
Oklahoma's the other OSU. I had a friend who would always talk her trash because they were our favorite, or we were their favorite game of the season. So I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. Every environment is hostile when Texas travels.
Right, exactly. Texas is going to be ready to go in, and again, yeah, I mean, you got to be focused. The team has to pay attention, but they just do the damn thing. And if people think that this team isn't ready, you're talking about, how are you going to sit here and say your quarterback is overly confident, but also not ready to play in a hostile environment? Like, that doesn't make sense.
And then Get Up today was all about how Jordan Rodgers thinks Arch is overhyped and he's not buying that. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers' brother, you might know from The Bachelorette.
Right, like I said, who?
His brother claim to fame is being on The Bachelorette and winning The Bachelorette. So.
All right, Megan, do you have three things that Texas needs to get done, or what are your 3 keys to a Texas win on the road?
Yeah, look, we haven't talked about this much, but I do think special teams is going to come into play here. We know that Texas struggled a little bit last year and some key moments on special teams, and I think it's fair to say Texas was in some positions that special teams kind of hurt the team, right? Like, at the very least, they weren't helping the team. Yeah. Again, going into a matchup like this, going into, these are 2 incredibly talented teams. These are 2 very evenly matched teams. And Amanda, I love what you said about, it's going to be about mistakes. It's going to be about the little things. Can you execute? Can you take advantage of the other team's mistakes? To me, special teams.
They left 48 points on the board last year.
Right. Texas would have been a national champion if our special teams was better last year. I'm comfortable saying that.
SEC champions for sure.
So I think that if Texas can execute and have their special teams be an asset rather than a liability, that's going to be a big difference in this game. Number 2, we haven't talked about this one-on-one too much, but looking at that OSU Texas's O-line, we talk a lot about Texas's defensive line. We think this is, Texas is probably the best defense in the country, but I'm looking at that other matchup. I think our O-line has a ton of talent, and Babers, I'd love your thoughts on this. Like, the Texas O-line does have a ton of talent, but that depth is a concern. We know that, right? Amanda, you brought up Gooseby. Is he going to stay healthy? We know he's been a little banged up. Can that O-line stay healthy enough to give Arch Manning enough time to do his thing? Now, again, like we talked a little bit about earlier, the legs on Arch, this O-line is getting adapted, but can they stay healthy? Because it's the depth that I worry about there. And OSU's D-line, they're solid, man. So how does Texas hold up against that in this game? And then for me, I think, again, this is going to be obvious, but quarterback play is everything here. Yeah. We keep talking about Arch. We know Arch is capable for sure. It's just got to be about the execution. But I also don't want to underestimate saying, again, in this matchup, in this moment in time, is going to have the massive advantage because he has been in this system for so long, like you've been saying. He knows what he's doing. He's got that talent. But saying, I don't want him to be underestimated. We all know what a quarterback with a chip on his shoulder can do, right? So as long as Texas's D can get to him, rattle the kid, get him a little bit, like make him make mistakes, make him hear those footsteps, make him see ghosts, right? Like get in his head early, get in his head often. I think Texas is fine. But if Sayan gets on a hot streak, then, that can be a big difference here. So those are my 3 takes. All
right. Nice. We had somebody, I'm looking for the comment, but somebody messaged, Colin motherfucking Simmons. Like, yeah, that's going to be. Hopefully, he goes to bed seeing Simmons' face.
He's got that red dot.
Number
on
one
Sagan's forehead.
on his forehead. Yeah. All right. So I'll do a couple of comments and some questions for you guys too before I give you my 3 keys. So Clay Stewart, buddy, friend of the show, I'm hoping a more open playbook will lend itself to better complementary football. We know defense travels. Saturday can't get here fast enough. Hook 'em, y'all. I think that kind of goes along with you just said, Megan, about special teams, right? That they all need to complement themselves. Good, starting with good field position, forcing them to punt. If we have to punt, not forcing things. Then Rod Babers, this is a question for you right here. Do you think Arch used the summer to prepare with his uncles for the Ohio game? Martinez.
I hope so. I mean, I hope he leans on his uncles and his grandpa whenever their knowledge is available. And from what I can gather, all the stories that I've read, I mean, all he takes is a text, and he'll usually get back a short summary from Eli, and then Peyton will send him like some long, transcribed.
Yeah. That Siri's working hard there, right? She's just transcribing.
Yeah, I hope he does lean on it, and I think that's Manning is never disappointed. I mean, we haven't had a Manning disappoint yet. And I
knock on wood right now.
Yeah, I'll knock on wood. But I don't think Arch will. I think Arch, from what I hear intellectually, he's on top of it. I mean, he's really motivated to be a great leader. He was a great teammate for 2 years, from what I heard. Really humble in that situation behind Quinn, and didn't want to be a guy that took up a lot of the limelight, because he understood that's for the starting quarterback. He's got a role to play, and now he's. I think from what I hear, relishing in the role of being a leader, organizing the walkthroughs and keeping guys after practice. You guys talked about that earlier. So I can't wait to see him in action on the field when the team is actually his. When he is actually the unquestioned leader of the team, and the swag that he displays, and how he battles adversity, because it will hit, by the way, inevitably. Mm-hmm. There's going to be adversity. That's what road games are about. That's what the icy whites is awesome. Trust me, there's nothing cleaner than the icy whites out there, man. Stormtroopers. That's a big part of the mystique as well. But winning road games, I think I was the longest road winning streak I was a part of, I think, was 11 games too. I think the road loss was at Texas Tech. Good Lord, 0-2. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury and Wes Welker. But speaking of adversity, we lost like 3 or 4 starters on defense that night. It's nighttime in Lubbock, so y'all know how that goes. But we lost like a lot, and we just did not handle the adversity. Well, offense was rolling, offense was scoring. It came down to a shootout, and the defense, which usually we were, pretty good at handling adversity and, kind of battling through it, and we didn't handle it well that night, and our BCS hopes were dashed. So the truth of the formula, or at least whatever Sark's formula is, a big part of it is how you battle adversity as a team. Does it bring you closer together? Does it bring out the best in you? Or does it, is it something that ultimately can, as a team, help you or hurt you? And I think this team, it brings out the best in you.
Nice. I was just about to mention, you were part of the last big streak of 11 games, true road wins that Texas is on right now, 11 true road wins. And this was CB's question. What was the toughest road game you played in at Texas? Even if it was a W, even if you walked out of there with a W, what was the toughest game you played in on the road?
We beat K-State on the road. I ain't going to lie. That was a tough one. I want to say it came like a block hit in that game or something like that. We beat K-State on the road in, is it 0-2? That was a hell of a game. It was, you guys know, Purple Kryptonite. That was tough to vanquish K-State at home.
Was that Snyder times?
Yeah.
Bill Snyder. It would have been early Bill Snyder, right?
Yeah, just a tough brand of football, man. Blue collar brand of football. And you just knew it was gonna be a fight. Like you're gonna get hit in the mouth, they're gonna hit you, you're gonna get hit again. It's one of them games. It's like really whoever gonna throw the last punch and whoever can take the punch the best is gonna end up winning that game. Thank you.
Oh, look, Rod, it was you that won that game.
Was it really? Oh my gosh! I think we won by a block kick. I don't know.
The game was won off a block kick. That was me.
That's not why I did it, but that's a great point.
Good job, Stevie.
I swear that's not why. Y'all don't can't
No.
Sure. Yeah. We believe you.
I know, that's awesome. No, I know you're that's true. You're a very humble guy. So all right.
My bad.
Yeah. All right. So let's look. I'll give you my my keys to the game right now. And let's see. Hang on one sec. I'll give you my keys to the game. I have physical lines of scrimmage. We've heard all about this offensive line is, going to be a solid run blocking team, that they're physical, they're bigger, that this is going to be an offensive line that if for anything else, they will play to the echo of the whistle, right? And that combined with, we've heard from Colin Simmons, like, I'm expecting, asking of my team to be physical. I need them to be physical. And that's what he mentioned first too, as a rising leader of the team. Colin Simmons mentioned it. I'm asking them to be physical, and they're demanding it. We heard that it's been the most physical camp since Sark's been here. So all those things together, I think the more physical team, just like leaving, the Ohio State game in Dallas, for most of the game, Ohio State was more physical. I think the Texas needs to be the more physical team. Finishing a block, finishing a, run blocking, finishing a tackle, whatever it is, they need to be the one that did it more physical. Every one-on-one matchup on the field needs to be more physical. I would like to really, really, really see them establish the run, take the pressure off Arch Manning, establish the run game. They have, we know what we saw, what Quintravian Wisner can do. Now we get to see more of what CJ Baxter was starting to show us that we didn't get to see last year. And then Christian Clark, who we haven't got to see. And maybe even, dare we say, Sark trusts Jarrett Gibson to touch the ball in this game. We'll see. We'll see, right, who gets out there. But I would love to see them establish the run and take some of that pressure off of Arch Manning. And my third thing is also Arch Manning will have to put the cape on 3 or 4 times in this game. There will be 2, 3, maybe 4 moments in this game where Arch Manning does have to put the cape on. I know Sark said, do you go be him? He said, go be him. But also, it's not all on him. However, every great game, the greatest player does have to put the cape on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times. And Arch is going to have to do that. There's going to be moments where he's going to have to put that cape on and lead his team to victory, rile them up, get them excited, move the chains, whatever it takes. So yes, Arch, put the cape on 3 to 4 times. Nice. Those are my keys to this game. We have Arch Manning talking about. Let me just play this for you, just so you can hear.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for. Spent 2 years not playing, so might as well go have some fun, right?
Oh, man.
Does that look like a really overconfident guy to you?
He's so overconfident. I think he should back off.
Wow, like he's a little intimidating with that confidence. Like just too cocky for his own good.
I know. Yeah,
they're running out of things to talk about, and it's apparent.
Yeah, they are.
We'll be able to tell if he's cocky by the touchdown celebration.
I like his growl face that he did. I think that was that the A&M game where he was like, "Arr."
Yes, he was like, yeah. I love him.
I have that screenshotted to respond to people.
Yeah, and his comment about Megan, you mentioned a minute ago about the hostile environment and thing. Then he had this comment about the target on their backs. We've talked about this.
I think that's all of us at Texas, and I think we kind of try to shift the narrative. We're going for everyone else. Target's not on our back. We have the red dot on everyone else.
Red dot on everybody else.
So there's t-shirts now with the red dot or something. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna acknowledge the red dot thing?
I'm just gonna buy those little, those sales sticker packs.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy one that has all the red dots and just put them on everything. I'm gonna run around and just randomly.
Every Ohio State fan that walks by put a red dot.
I thought about a cat laser pointer. To like when my cat's laser pointer to the bar, just pointed at any Ohio. That might get me carried out.
Yeah, I was saying, don't do that to Ohio State fans. That will, they'll know how to act anyway. And I wouldn't do it. But
all right,
didn't Quinn say something like that though at one time? Remember the Quinn Wick thing? Where John Wick? I don't remember this John Wick Quinn.
Vaguely,
it didn't happen.
Vaguely, it's ringing a bell.
Disrespected Quinn, man. Quinn said something like that back in the day too. He made a John Wick reference, and now y'all hate. I don't even remember.
I'm not hating on him.
No, I just don't remember. No. if I see it, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. But I don't.
Thank you, CV. It was Quinn Wick because he said something. I think it was Big 12 Media Days or something. He was like, yeah, you know what? We like, kind of like John Wick. We think
Oh, I remember that.
Oh,
I
no,
remember that now.
Vaguely,
Yeah.
vaguely, I recall.
That's the difference between Arch and Quinn. Quinn said something kind of cool, people forgot about it. Arch said something cool, we'll never forget about it.
Quinn was, I felt so bad for Quinn. He got so much shade that was, everybody was just looking beyond him at the end.
Yep.
It just made me sad for him.
Yeah.
All right. We have one more question for you, Rod, and then we're going to get to predictions for this game. One more question. Clay Stewart asks, what's the overall thought about our secondary in this game? Continuity and experience matters with both players and staff.
Yeah, I'm glad Coach Akina's a man I know and trust is back there now. So I know they're gonna play to the standard that is obviously worthy of DBU. I think for this group going into this game, that the fact that they've seen Jeremiah Smith, when you go up against freaks, just trust me, they're real live X-Men, like they're just superhumans. They do exist. I've seen them on football fields myself. I am not one of them. But Jeremiah Smith, he is one of them super freaks. Like he is one of those superhumans out there. And I remember hearing Sean McVay talk about Lamar Jackson like this. Anybody should look up the record of Lamar Jackson versus the NFC. Like I want to say he's won like 90% of his games versus the NFC because they don't see him a lot, right? AFC, you see him all the time, or in the division, you see him twice a year. And I remember Sean McVay saying about Lamar Jackson, he said it took our defense like a whole half to just get used to the speed of this dude. We just athleticism at the quarterback position like that. But the point he made that once you see it and you acclimate to it, you adapt to it, and you adjust your athleticism, and then it's not such a shock. You're not shell shocked by their freakishness. And I think for Texas, they won't be shell shocked. Now they did a good job defending them last year, but you lost, the Thorpe Award winner Janae Barron. You lost Andrew McCougar, a second-round pick too. But Malik Muhammad, Michael Taft, Jelani McDonald, all these guys who got a chance to actually see him up close and personally compete against them. I'm happy they won't be shocked by his presence because I think a lot of people are and should be. But I would say the thing that made them a great secondary last year was their vision. They were very disciplined in their eyes, that's why they didn't blow a lot of coverages, and their communication was on point. And a lot of that was Michael Taft. Taft is great. He's like an eraser back there, erases a lot of mistakes, fixes a lot of things, covers a lot of tracks. And he even said this year that he had to shut up a little bit to let the youngsters talk in that second. They learn how to communicate because he was always the one being an air traffic controller.
He lost his voice at press media availability.
Taft, they just because he can't stop talking. He's living his dream, off the field and being a great player in Texas, but on the field, he's got this this duty and obligation to make sure that. Because I hear Coach Akina talking. Coach Akina said, "I can't get him away from me." Like Coach Akina's like he's like following me around, and I want to come hang out and watch film with him all the time. He's like he's glued to me now. Like Coach Aquino said, in my office, I guarantee if I got a 2 hours of free time, Taft gonna come through there at least one time. Like, hey, Coach, but his head, hey, Coach, what's up with that cover 3 adjustment? Get out of here, man. So that's what I love about him is that, and from what I heard, they told there's a young Grayson Littleton is kind of latching on to Michael Taft because he sees the way he does business and how he carries himself like a professional. He's like, all right, that's the guy that Coach Akina told me I need to follow him around and learn everything he does. So that's the thing about this secondary I think is going to be special is the communication, and I think the eye discipline is going to be just as good as it was last year. But now I know that the football acumen and football IQ, which by the way was fine before, but I know it's going to increase and get better because that's the man that taught me everything I know about ball, the game within the game.
Okay, I have to ask one more Grayson Littleton question before we move on to our predictions. They say he covers the slot better than they've seen, right? Grayson Littleton, is he going to really get out there at nickel, or how many snaps you giving him in this game?
That's because I asked Coach K, I was like, is he the real deal? What's going on with this freshman out there playing the slot? And he's like, yeah, he's the real deal. When I was out there, he was getting some first team reps at the nickel. I cannot listen. I don't know if I'd put him out there versus Ohio State. Because I'm Ohio State.
They're going to put Jeremiah Smith in that slot right then and there.
I might call a timeout to get that guy to get him lined up on that dude. I mean, I think Ohio State will have a game plan, because there will be a question mark in that secondary. Now, if it's Grayson Littleton at nickel, all right, then we all know who they're going after. And Texas know who they're going after. They're going after that young buck, and they should. If it's Kobe Black, say they put Gilbo at nickel instead of putting him at corner, and then it's Kobe Black out there at the corner, they're going to go at Kobe Black. If they put 3 safeties out there, say you put Derek Williams out there, you put Michael Taft out there, and you put Jelani McDonald 3, they're gonna see if them safeties can cover. Let's see if these big boys can cover. We know they can come down and hit. Let's see if they can cover the best wide receiving corner. So either way, something in that secondary will be tested. There will be a game plan. Ohio State will have a game plan ready to test it. If it's Grayson Littleton, I mean, how good? You must be really good. I just ranked all the DBs in the history of DBU. I went 75. I went down to number 75. I went all the way to I went deep. Tom Landry. I mean, I went deep. And, I can't think of how many freshmen started at nickel for Texas. Not very many. I started at nickel at a few games. I think Aaron Williams did it. Nathan Vasher's in that club. I got to go look at the club. I think Michael Huff may be in that club. Like, you get the amount of guys who can start at nickel, a very, very difficult position to play, and do it as a freshman. You're special. So the young man, it seems like he might be pretty damn special.
Love it.
Yeah, to get started reps on this team as a freshman, you got to be special, period. I agree with that.
All right, love it. So let's go around and give our score predictions for this game. Amanda, do you have a score prediction for this game?
I do. I'm pretty sure this is the same one I gave on Moving Goalposts that came out on Tuesday, but I'm going 24-13 Texas.
Boom.
Wow.
Double digits.
Double digits. I mean, it's
a little Michigan action.
Yeah, but I know I just feel like the first team to get to 20 probably wins this one, just because of the mismatches and just the two, I don't want to say unexperienced quarterback in Arch Manning, but just 2 quarterbacks with less experience, first-time starters. A game like this that has 2 really good teams defensively, I feel like Texas does get their legs under them eventually in the offense, but I feel like it'll be pretty low scoring, but I do think it's just the first team that gets it. I don't know. I'm trying to be not too confident, but I saw how Texas played against a team like Michigan last year on the road. I feel like they get really, really high, and then they hold out through the second half. They'll just have to be able to hold out through that second half and not let them creep back like they did a couple games last year, like Vanderbilt, A&M almost. But, yeah, 24-13. Putting that on the wall.
All right. Man, it's 24. If you have a score prediction, you can put it in the comments. Megan, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, I've got Texas winning this one 24-17. Again, low scoring. I mean, we know that OSU is a damn good team, and we know that they're going to be playing for pride, right? They're tired of hearing about Arch Manning. They're tired of hearing about Texas. They want to come in. They want to prove something. But at this point, I think Texas just got that bigger chip on their shoulder, and Texas, this team is confident, but they're also having fun, man. Noise isn't going to bother them. They're going to go in and play their game. They're going to go in, have a good time. They're going to get punched in the mouth, and they're going to respond well. So I do have it low scoring, but I do have it Texas 24-17.
All right. Rod B.
Yeah, I got a relatively low scoring. I got it 27. I think I'm at 27-21. Texas, of course. So I think I think ultimately for Texas, something bad happens to them at one point in the game where they may lose momentum. Game could get tight. I think they pull away in the second half. In the fourth quarter, I think Texas pulls away and scores a touchdown. But they have control of the game. They just don't score, obviously enough to win by double digits, in my opinion. But they definitely control the game for most of the game.
All right, we have some predictions. CJ says 28-17 Texas. David Wheeler 27-14 Texas. Jose 31-13. Miracle Martinez 21-3.
That would be something to see that stadium clear out if the score is 3 in the fourth quarter.
I don't know about holding Jeremiah Smith to field goal range.
Ezzy, girl, I love you, but damn, I don't know about without a touchdown.
If that happens, though, that means Julian Sand was shook.
Yeah,
and he couldn't move the ball. Like basically,
remember what they did to Spencer Rattler?
They got his
rattled him.
Yeah,
but then in came Caleb Williams. We want to talk about that. Yeah. So what I'm leaning on mostly is it's not just 2 starting quarterbacks getting their first season starts, like big season starts, but I think it's more that Arch Manning has been in the system beyond him being Arch Manning. He's been in this system with, Milwee and Sarkisian and, behind this O-line coach for this is his third full season now that he's been in the same program. I think the development matters. I think the experience with having the same offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, like you mentioned, strength and conditioning, all the things that led them up to this point. And in the game, they have coached games together, 30, 40, 50 games together as a staff, right? 50, 60 games now as a staff. They know the timeouts. They know, they've been on the road. They went on the road together. They know the process, Friday traveling. They know all these things. So I feel like that continuity of the staff is massive. I think that staff continuity for me balances out home field advantage. Home field advantage is worth a field goal. I think staff continuity is worth 7 to 10 at home, maybe a solid field goal on the road. However, there's still going to be two messy, ugly games behind two inexperienced offensive lines, so I cannot have high scoring in this game. I have 19-17 Texas. Ooh. Ugly. It's going to be one of those games you're like, was that really bad offense or really good defense? I don't know, but we got out of there. It's going to be one of those things. Like watching Kansas State, Iowa State last week. Is like, are we watching bad offense or are we watching good defense?
That just looks like the ball had like canola oil on it.
Don't judge either team by what happened in this game, except get out of there. I have one last question for you guys. Before I know we've kept you, Rod, so long. Amanda, thanks for jumping in with us. I have a question. Who needs this win more? And I'll start with you, Megan, this time. Who needs the win more, Texas or Ohio State?
I think needs is a really heavy word here.
Yes, needs. Who needs it more for the season?
Neither of them need it. Look, this game is early enough in this season that you can lose the game. If you play a good game, you play a close game, and you walk out of there, with a loss, it's not going to kill your season. You can still make the playoffs. You can still win your conference. All your goals are ahead of you. So need to me that's a heavy word that I don't think applies to either team. If I have to pick one, like we say, plunger to the head. If I have to pick one, I would say probably Texas, only because Ohio State's coming off a national championship. Right. And Texas, they've proven it. They've done it recently. Texas is on a 20-year drought for that natty. So with all the talk around Arch Manning, with all the talk around who Texas is and being so close and being right there, going into the shoe, walking away with a dub against the national championship or against the national champion for the second year in a row, I think helps build the momentum for the season.
All right, Amanda, who needs this win more?
I think I'm kind of in the same boat there. Like, obviously, these two teams, whoever loses this game, probably still expects to play close to 15 games this season. But as far as, if Ohio State loses, I think there's going to be a lot of people talking about, is this quarterback situation detrimental to the future of this team? Is there too much gone from last year for this to be another college football playoff contending team? So I do think they have a lot to lose in that category, especially because it's a home game. But of course, they're going to point fingers at every single thing. Oh, it wasn't on the Sunday night like we wanted to. Oh, it was in the daytime. They had the event. They're going to do all of that. Whereas if Texas loses, obviously they're going to be we will never hear the end of Manning being overhyped, or at least for the next couple weeks until there's another opponent with a pulse on the field that they beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that sense, I think Texas has a lot more to lose, because I think it'll just put a lull on the start of the season and a lull for Arch with a lot of media chatter around it that they would. I know he tries to not listen to that media chatter, but I just feel like it would, the allegations of never being able to beat the big team in season, non-conference games included. Michigan last year, but then the narrative was Michigan was not a good team at all. So,
right.
Even though Michigan beat Ohio State in the shoe, but
that's true.
Anyways,
yeah.
So
all right,
I'm going with Texas.
Rod B, who needs this win more?
I agree with the ladies. It's no doubt it's Texas. Ohio State, they're still a little fat, happy, and full. They just won a national title. Ryan Day got that monkey off his back. At one point, he compared losing to Michigan to losing his father. Anybody watch that sound when he said that? I mean, my point is how what a dark place that rivalry had him in. And he still, like Amanda said, he still lost the damn game, but he won a national title. So it's like, we forgive you, Ryan Day. It's okay. I think for Sark, it's big because Sark needs to start beating elite head coaches. Ryan Day's a made man now. All right. And, he's one of the few head coaches in college football that's got a national title now on his resume. And Sark is 0-2 versus Kalen DeBoer, 0-2 versus Kirby. I know he's got the big Saban win, but there's another little narrative starting to develop on the side that Sark can't beat the elite coaches. And so that's the next step for him, I think. Start consistently beating guys like Ryan Day, guys like Kirby Smart, face Kalen DeBoer, got to beat him too. You got to start matching wits with those guys. And it's unfair because this is why Mac became a prisoner of his own excellence that, once you take the program to the stratosphere, it feels like, and then everybody's asking, all right, so what about the next one? But unfortunately, that is the case for Sark because I don't think Texas gets their national title unless he starts beating those caliber coaches consistently because that's what's waiting for you in the playoffs, big dog. Right. Ryan Days and Kirby Smarts and Kalen DeBoers of the world, more of those. So it's in him, but I think it's a big game for him because I want to see him start beating another caliber coach.
All right. We have about 650 people watching right now, and they're dying to know what we think about this Texas-Ohio State game. I'm going to say that the team that needs to win this the most is Texas, and I have a different reason. My reason is just looking at their schedules. I'm looking at Ohio State's schedule. Grambling, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin. Their toughest game is Penn State, and they get them at home. And then, Michigan's usually their toughest game because they lose to Michigan every year, right? So they get them at home. They'll go to Michigan. Sorry, they go to Michigan to end the season. The reason this matters to me the most is because if Texas has one loss now at Ohio State, they still, like we know, like somebody just posted, and I'm going to agree with you, Sark can't beat Georgia. Well, Sark hasn't beaten Georgia yet, and there's no doubt about it. Sark stumbles with Georgia. Something about Georgia has him yet and still, and until he beats them, he's got to beat them, right? So we go to Georgia. We go to Florida. DJ Lagway, one of the best quarterbacks in his recruiting class, we thought that coach was on his deathbed, but here he is thriving and recruiting still at a high level, reloading there. There's going to be some tough games. Our Aggies will be firing by the time they come to Austin in November. They'll be 8-4. They'll be 8-3, ready to be 8-4 by the time, coming to Austin. So there's still some big games that Texas has to get through this year. And if Texas loses at Ohio State, they could be looking at 2, maybe 3 losses, which you know what that does? That puts them going to Penn State for the playoffs, or it puts them going to freezing, ice cold disaster of a place to play in the playoffs. It doesn't give them that nice home Clemson come to you like they got last year. So to me, that's why I think it matters the most that Texas does not have that second or third loss, because then you start dropping where your spot in those playoffs unless they win the SEC championship. That would be their savior, right? They would have to win the SEC championship to not be going to, wherever, Penn State to play or something like that. So that's why Texas needs, because Ohio State has a nice schedule set up if they get an L. Texas does not. Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
I like it. Yeah, a lot depends on Lagway too in that Florida game. If Lagway's healthy, then that's a game. If he ain't, that's not a game anymore.
He's been limited in practice.
Yeah.
But he just seems so injury prone at this point that, limited in practice now, what happens when what happens when you're really getting hit?
I agree.
Crazy. All right. We wanted to talk a little Aggie Sooners, but we're not going to have time tonight, which is fine because we got to have Rod Babers and then Amanda Atwell, little cherry on top.
Nice.
So lucky us. Everybody in the chat really enjoyed you guys being here. Thank you so much. That's really awesome. Thanks, Rod Babers and Amanda Miracle Says, for joining tonight. Like we said, Rod Babers, you've been with us since Fire the Cannon since
Hey,
day one.
Day one.
A few years now. You're always welcome to join us. You always are so gracious with your time. Let everybody know. Everybody knows where to find you. All they have to do is like literally open YouTube and you're somewhere streaming. Tell everybody, Rod, where to find you, how to find you, what shows you're doing. I know you're busy with On Texas and other things.
Yeah, On Texas Football. We got the newest member of On Texas Football, Amanda. So we're really excited about her. We're out kicking our coverage on this one, that's for sure. So we're upgrading over there, just trying to make the experience better for you guys. So On Texas Football, ontexasfootball.com. Third Longhorn, shout out to the crew and Nick Shuley and Fozzie Whitaker. And
I'm Third and Longhorn. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, those guys, Jeremy Hill, those guys are great. We just did a Texas tour. Those guys are awesome. They really are, man. I really feel bad that I tell my wife I'm going to go to work when I go hang out with the guys for like 2 hours and kicking. Like, I got to go to work, man. She's like, yeah, whatever. She's right. Honestly, we just have a lot of fun. So Third and Longhorn, we actually had at VY on our Texas tour. So we'll have like a VY interview coming out in a little while. I don't know when they're going to release it. And that's all for now. I'm just focused on those two projects mainly. But man, as you guys know, usually I love coming on with Longhorn fans. So I know a lot of you guys out there creating great content for the Longhorn fans out there. I know, I'm a little busy, but if you guys want me to come through, man, just holler at me. I promise I'll try to get back with you as soon as I can.
You're
we
great
always
that
appreciate
way.
you, Rod.
All right, and you are at Rod Babers. Amanda, you have a lot going on too. You just joined On Texas Football, and you have your projects. Tell us where to find you.
Yeah, and we might have to have you on Moving Goalposts pretty soon, Rod.
Let's do it.
The Aggies over there would love that.
Hey, I'm down. That's great. That's a great show. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just started Moving Goalposts. That comes out every Tuesday in the morning. That is a show with the ever loved and ever hated Billy Lucci. I know how a lot of people feel about him, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun right now because they don't got much to say.
Because he doesn't have a dub. Yep.
I am having a great time. Billy is over 7, and we are on 7 episodes. So
yeah, if you just want to watch Amanda body the Aggies like over and over and over, that is
people are like, I don't want to support Texags. It's like they're paying me to body the hell out of Billy Lucci.
They didn't even take their quarterback to SEC Media Days, and he was the starter last year. We didn't even get to talk about that tonight, but that's okay.
Yeah. But anyways, that comes out on Tuesdays. I'm hosting a live show, the Longhorn live stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 7:15 over on Texas Football. And that's a lot of fun. That's with CJ Bogle and Jeff Howell. We have a great time. So yeah, join me on those. Just getting back into this chatting about sports stuff, which I very much enjoyed. I've taken about a 4-year hiatus, but I am back.
I will say this: Billy Lucci ain't that bad, man.
He's not. He's a good dude,
he's a good dude. I had great experience with Billy Lucci, so I'll take up for Billy Lucci here on the channel. Billy Lucci, good people with me.
I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate you guys as always. Like, it is always great to have the Longhorn family here. We always say this Texas is family. We absolutely mean it. So y'all being here means the world to us. We truly, truly appreciate it. Y'all, for those of us that joined us, we appreciate you too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are Fire the Cannon Podcast on YouTube. We are Fire the Cannon 1, the number 1 on both Twitter and Instagram. So y'all, we'd love to see you around. Don't forget to join us, subscribe. We love seeing you around. We love seeing the comments. Before you guys go, can we get a hook 'em for everybody?
Yeah.
Woo. Gotta get that screenshot.
All right, y'all.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all are so generous with your time. Love it. I'm gonna give y'all a massive shout out when I share this. Oh, I'm so grateful that y'all joined us tonight. Wow, fun. And in Texas, we're going to Columbus, and we're gonna come back with that dub.
Damn right.
Yeah.